There's no sugarcoating the stunning defeat for Donald Trump and his cronies in Tuesday's Senate contest. There's no accusation of fake news that can cover the tracks of the disastrous results for the president and for his supposedly populist politics little more than 1 year after his own election. There's no comeback for his former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, who declared war on the Republican establishment by stumping for a toxic candidate like Roy Moore. Roy Stewart Moore, February 11, 1947, in Gadsden, Alabama, the oldest of 5 children of a construction worker and housewife. He had a large slab of Vermont granite inscribed with quotes from the Declaration of Independence, the national anthem and the Founding Fathers installed in the Alabama Supreme Court. It was topped off with tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments. In Vietnam, Moore insisted his troops salute him on the battlefield. He was named Captain America and later recalled sleeping on sandbags to avoid a grenade tossed under his cot in retribution. I think America was great at the time when families were united. Even though we had slavery, they cared for one another. After refusing to acknowledge same-sex marriage legislation, Human Rights Campaign said, "It is clear that Roy Moore not only believes he is above the law, he believes he is above judicial ethics." This wasn't a marginal contest in some familiar swing state, a typical bellwether of political trends. We're talking about Alabama. One of the most Republican states in the Union where there's a long and violent history of rejecting outside influences, and anything that smacks of progressive politics. If Trumpism has any future, any constituency moving forward, it should be thriving in Alabama. For months we have all endured the endless reporting from Trump country where the president's loyalists say their love of the blowhard-in-chief is undiminished. Instead, Alabama, the state whose love of segregation gave us some of the greatest flashpoints in the civil rights movement, has drawn the reddest of red lines. There are still limits to what voters consider acceptable behavior, and Roy Moore is on the wrong side of them. Standing by him are his biggest boosters. Donald Trump chose to waste what little remains of his political capital on a man accused of being a sexual predator of teenage girls. The Republican National Committee tarnished its name by supporting Moore's campaign in its late stages after earlier abandoning him. And then there's Steve Bannon, who lambasted every Republican for treating Roy Moore like a cancer on the GOP. For now, Democrats can enjoy the sight of their first senator from Alabama in a quarter of a century. They can enjoy the moral victory of seeing Doug Jones, who successfully prosecuted 2 of the racist killers behind the 1963 Birmingham church bombing, triumph over a Republican who seemed to hanker after the days when slavery stained the South every day. Democrats can start recalculating the vote counts on every legislation now they have narrowed the GOP's Senate majority to just 2. I have always believed that the people of Alabama have more in common than what divides us, Jones said in his victory speech.